I'll introduce myself first. I'm Avner, one of the founders of engageSPARK. We are based, I'm here in the Philippines in Cebu City, and why don't I have a short presentation to show you guys about a bit about engageSPARK and what we offer, and then I will jump in and show a demo of the platform so you can really see how easy it is and how quickly you can build Voice IVR and SMS text campaigns. So I'm going to quickly share my screen to show everybody this presentation, and then we'll jump straight into the demo. We have about 15 people signed up for this, but they probably don't have the new link, so people might be jumping on, and we want to make sure, since this is being broadcast live, that they'll actually be able to watch it later as well. So anyway, let me go ahead and share this, and hopefully everybody can see my the PowerPoint on my screen. We are engageSPARK. Just to start out, we're actually a not-for-profit social enterprise, and our goal is to actually really empower and help NGOs maximize their impact. Our goal is not to just make profits and like a normal company would. Our goal is actually to try to help NGOs, and we're really mission aligned with NGOs and try to keep our prices very low for that reason. These are some of our customers and partners who we've been working with over the years with a variety of different campaigns, different tutorials, different webinars we've done with them. We've done a lot of interesting projects with them. Now, something that's important and kind of the reason that we exist is that everybody thinks about smartphones are the new thing, but the truth, and internet and apps, but the truth is that SMS and voice are really what are everywhere. As we note here, 86% of people in the world have access to a mobile phone. But those aren't smartphones, and the people who do own smartphones often don't even have access to the internet. But every single mobile phone in the world can receive and send SMS and voice. And people value their phones like crazy. They actually value them more than food. Interestingly, the most common thing people forego to buy airtime or phone credit is food and transport. So people's mobile phones are really important, and that's one of the best ways to communicate with the very poor and interact with them, and one of the cheapest ways globally. So why engageSPARK? What is the benefit of engageSPARK? What we've tried to do is make our platform incredibly easy in three fundamental ways. First, incredibly easy to use. So it's super easy. We've built these three-step wizards, which I'll show you shortly. It's incredibly easy to build SMS and voice campaigns for non-techies in minutes. The other tools that we found that existed, and one of the real main reasons that we built engageSPARK, was that the other tools we came across tended to be built by techies for techies. And it made it very difficult for program managers, non-technical people at NGOs to build SMS and voice campaigns to really interact with the poor. And so we decided to build a platform to make that very, very simple. So it's really easy to use. The second thing that we came across that was very difficult for NGOs globally was that it's hard to integrate with telcos in different parts of the world. It's costly, it takes a lot of time, and so what we've done is we made it really easy to send and receive SMS anywhere in the world. You don't need to worry about the telco integration, you don't need to worry about getting phone numbers. We've built all of that into the platform to make it very just instantaneous and really simple, and you don't have to worry about that. We've done it all behind the scenes, so you don't need to get your own accounts with telcos or anything like that. And third, as I mentioned earlier, we're a not-for-profit social enterprise, and our goal is to keep prices low and to make our pricing very simple and transparent. So it's easy to afford. Everything is usage-based fees, meaning we don't have subscription plans, we don't have contracts. It's simply you pay for every SMS you send and receive, and you pay for every voice minute you send and receive, and that's it. So why don't I now jump into the demo of the platform. Hopefully that gave you a quick background about engageSPARK. Let me go ahead and share a demo screen. Where are we? 1 second. Okay. So when you, I hope everybody can see my screen now. This is what you'll see when you log into your account on engageSPARK. Obviously, there's some data in here already, but this is what you'll see. This is your list of engagements. So an engagement on our platform is what you might call a campaign, but the idea is that you're engaging with your audience. And it's very simple. You come to this page and you have an option between choosing SMS or voice. And we have a number of what we call engagement types, or different wizards, sort of templates for building different types of campaigns. So for SMS, we have 5 templates, and I'll go over them shortly. For voice, we have 2 right now, a 3rd coming soon. And I'll just jump in and start with a Voice IVR poll and show you all how it works. So if you just click on IVR poll, you get this page, which is you can use this engagement type for 2 purposes. One would be to do a voice survey, and you can build a voice survey in like 2 minutes using the platform, where up here you would upload your first question. Let's say you have a series of questions, so you just click upload, and you can just select an initial question asking somebody something, and here are the key press options. So imagine if you ask a question, press 1 if you are female, 2 if you are male, and that's all you wanted to send. You could send this out and collect that data. This initial question, this initial file would be asking that question. These would be the key press options for somebody to press on their phone. And then our reporting, you would see, you send this out to 10,000 people. The reporting would show you how many pressed 1, how many pressed 2. Very simple. Of course, you can add additional questions down here, and just add as many as you want. And as soon as they answer the first question, they go on to the second question, and so on and so forth. And we've had customers do surveys with up to 6 voice questions on 1 call, which is probably around the limit you would want to have, because for a very long call, people can actually get bored and stop and hang up the call. So you don't want to probably go too far with this. But another thing that you can do with this Voice IVR is actually use it as an information retrieval service. So instead of asking a question with this initial file, where you're trying to collect data, you can ask a question to allow people to retrieve data. So for example, you can ask, press 1 if you want to learn about safe hand washing, or about hand washing during pregnancy. Press 2 if you want to learn about preventing malaria during your pregnancy. Press 3 if you want to learn about danger signs or tips you should know about during your pregnancy. And so if they press 1, you can upload a file here for what should play if the recipient presses 1. Here you would upload what should play if the recipient presses 2. And then you just click another menu option and then upload another file for what happens if they press 3. And of course, you can upload an error response, meaning if somebody presses...
Meeting ko kanina. Hindi ko kausap. Sumali lang ako sa ano nila ngayon.
Go ahead and use that.
Explain ulit nila yung system.
Sorry, guys. So you have the initial message that people hear when they answer the call, and then the various options, the files that will play if they press 1, 2, or 3. And you can upload an error response, which is if they press 5, for example, that's what they will hear. So you can correct them and encourage them to answer correctly. As I noted before, you can add other questions just by clicking on this button, and you can upload a whole nother set of IVR information that they can retrieve, information retrieval. So this is sort of just a basic IVR, but what you can add to it are interesting features. For example, you can allow people to subscribe to this IVR via missed call. So in many developing countries in the world, missed calls or flashing or beeping in some countries it's called are ubiquitous. People will call somebody, let it ring for 1 or 2 rings, and then hang up. So it's free for them to send a signal to someone. They might be saying, "Hey, I'm here," or "I'll be there in 2 minutes," if they let it ring for 2 minutes or whatever it is. So if you, for example, don't have the phone numbers of your constituents, you can allow them to retrieve a valuable information retrieval service when they need to. So they make a missed call, you would just select a phone number right here. So let's say you wanted a Ghana voice phone number that you could get, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. Then if people do a missed call, they flash that phone number. Our system will not answer, so it's free for the end user. It doesn't actually cost them anything. And then our system will immediately call them back, and they will hear this voice IVR. And I'll post it on the chat in a moment. But we actually have a demo for this in the U.S. and in the Philippines. So you can do a missed call to see how it works to our U.S. number or our Philippines number to try it out. And now let me show you how easy it is to just add a phone number. You just click on this Add Phone Numbers button, and you just search for your country, and you scroll down, and these are real live phone numbers that you can buy instantaneously. So these are in the Philippines. We have phone numbers in many countries, in about 90 countries in the world. I'll search Kenya here. You just hit search, and these are, again, real live phone numbers. You just click buy, and now this number is linked to your account, so it can receive phone calls. And again, we have numbers in about 90 countries in the world. Some are voice enabled, some are both voice and SMS, some are just SMS. So these are in Indonesia, are voice and SMS. And again, it's instantaneous. So you can just buy one and then link it to this engagement for missed calls for people to subscribe immediately. And it's a great way. Using missed calls is really powerful because it allows people to engage without them having to spend any money. So here we have our IVR. We have other settings in here. So call retry settings is a really important feature because what it is it allows you to set automated retry rules if somebody doesn't answer. And this is a huge problem we've seen with a number of customers where if you push out a call and people often don't answer on the first try, they're busy, their phone is off, they don't have battery, their phone is at home, it's with somebody else, so they might not answer.
Hey, we can't hear the presentation.
Have you not been able to hear me? Can you guys hear me now? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You've been cut off for about the last 2 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Okay, what was the last thing you all heard me say? Hello? Can you guys hear me?
I think you were starting to talk about the call retry settings.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so you didn't miss too much. So for the call retry settings, it's and please definitely announce if I go mute it again for some reason. So the call retry settings is a really powerful feature because a lot of people often either don't have their phone with them at the given time or they're busy when you actually make the call to them. And by adding in these retry settings, you can really increase your engagement rate significantly. So we've had customers who've actually increased their answer rate by around 100% simply by adding in these basic retry settings, by saying like call the person again if they don't answer, call them again 1 hour later, do that twice, do it for the next week every couple days or something like that. And of course once they answer, our system won't keep retrying them, but that's one of the really easy ways to increase your engagement rate by giving people another chance to answer if they're not available the first time, and often people aren't. We've seen answer rates go up from like 25% up to more than 50% just with these simple retry settings. And another really nice feature is if you have a survey, for example, with multiple questions, and people are in rural areas or somewhere where the signal might not be the best and the calls do drop. If the call drops, you can set for our system to call them back right away and start where they left off. So it skips questions they already answered. So if they were on question 3, it'll go straight to question 3 and not ask them the questions they already answered. And of course, you can add in a new start message. So you could say, hey, sorry the call got disconnected. This is Mercy Corps again. We'll start where you left off in the poll, and you can just upload that MP3 here. So a nice feature to just make things easier. Another one that's another setting that's really powerful. That's one of those things that, of course, you want to test with your audience. Is in the call settings this replay item right here, which basically says if they don't answer, if they don't press a key within the timeout period, and by default it's 10 seconds, or if they press a wrong key, remind them, play this error message to remind them to answer. And depending on your audience, we've seen key press answers go up from 8% to as high as 48% simply by increasing this, because a lot of people aren't so familiar with IVRs and haven't done it before. But if you remind them, or, having the system automatically remind them, hey, please, please press 1 for this, 2 for that, 3 for that, and you do it a few times, getting them to actually press the key finally works. They understand and they're reminded what they need to do, and it works. So these are some of the sort of bonus or extra features between missed calls, subscription, the call settings, and the retry settings. And I know I've been talking about this for a long time, but if you build it without talking for so long, you can actually build this in just a couple of minutes. So we created this Voice IVR, and I'll just hit next. And then you come to when you click next, you come to the contacts page. On the contacts page, this is where you'll select your constituents, or the people who will be receiving the call. And of course, you may have already created groups in this contact section up here. And you can easily select a group and send to them, or you can select individual contacts. So I'll actually send this to my phone right now here in the Philippines, and I'll play it on speaker so everybody can actually hear and see how it works. So you'll just hit next then, and when you hit next, you'll come to this confirm page where you can do a few things. You can set a caller ID. So I can put in, let's say, another my old Filipino number in here as the caller ID, and you should always put in the country code, but put in the caller ID, and then this will actually show up on the recipient's phone as who the number is coming from. So you could put it, for example, as the phone number of your office or a hotline or something like that. And it's not 100% guaranteed that it will get through, but it almost always does get through, and it depends on the telco and country sometimes. You can also schedule engagement. So you can, over here, set a start time. So right now it's set to immediately, but I can just click on this, and let's say I happen to be in the Philippines, but I want this campaign. This campaign is in Norway. So or Nigeria. So I would just select Nigeria for the time zone, and then I could say, oh, I want this to actually go out at 11 a.m. Nigeria time, and then our system will handle that and send at the right time. Of course, you could set a different date or time for when it should go out, but I'll just send this out immediately. So then you hit launch, and our system will process it, and that's it. It was successful, and my phone should be ringing the next few seconds, and I'll put it on speaker when it does. But in here, you'll see it now shows that this voice poll is running, and there goes my phone. And this is live. I'm not, faking this or anything. So put it on speaker. Hopefully everyone can hear.
This message is from engageSPARK to help you learn how to have a healthy, happy baby. Press 1 to learn about hand washing. Press 2 to learn about preventing malaria. Press 3 to learn about danger signs during pregnancy.
So I'll press 2.
Always sleep under insecticide-treated bed nets to protect you and your baby from malaria.
So that's how easy it is. I mean, I know, again, I was talking for a while, but it literally, if I built that quickly, it would have taken me 45 seconds. It would have taken you 45 seconds. You upload the files, you select the contacts, you hit next, you hit launch, and you're there. And here's the coolest thing. Our reports are instant. So I will click here now and click on View Report, or you could click on this icon, and this will take you to the actual report of the engagement that was just launched. So this is my actual call here, where you see that I pressed 2, it was a valid response. You have this pie chart here. Obviously, if you had thousands of recipients, you would see all of the detail there. But one of the cooler things is you can also download a detailed report that's again in real time, that shows you every interaction related to this engagement per contact, and you get it in real time. So let me actually show this to everyone, because it's really powerful to see what you can actually see here. So wait a second, let me reshare this, and I'm going to share Excel now, just so everyone can really see this, because it's good stuff what you can see. So this is, obviously you'll have thousands of beneficiaries or constituents who are receiving your calls or your engagements, but you can have thousands of rows in here, but you actually get every single detail. So you see, here's the phone number. If it had a first name and a last name, you'll get that too. Here's the date the call was made, the time it was made in GMT, time it was answered, the time the call ended, how long it was, what question number this is. So, let's say you had a 5-question poll, you'd see what question number it was, what the person pressed, their key was 2, I pressed 2, whether it was valid, what file played, and what time they pressed the key. So imagine getting all of that detail instantly right after every call ends. There's no lag time. It's instant. And of course, you get the aggregated data on the site, and you can download the detailed report. So it's pretty powerful what you can get, and the value of that really is that you can iterate with that information. So we've had customers, you launch a campaign, something goes wrong. You see, you had a 3-minute survey, and you see that all of the calls are ending after 1.5 minutes, maybe, or around that. Nobody's going past that. Something's wrong. Maybe your questions are getting too boring or too complicated, or who knows. And so you can use that detailed information to quickly make changes to your campaigns and improve them. So it's valuable to get that information right away. So I'll jump into SMS now and show everybody the auto reply. The auto reply is a pretty powerful SMS engagement type that's also like an information retrieval tool. So what you can do with auto reply is you can have keywords and automated replies that get sent to the person when they send in a keyword. So as an example, let's say it's election season and you want to provide people with information about where they can vote. And so you create a list, and of course you can upload a list of keywords and replies with neighborhoods or locations in your town. So let's say we are talking about Kampala, Uganda, which I'm familiar with, used to live there. So we have an area called Naguru, and you can have an automatic response that says voting locations in Naguru are all churches between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. and Jane Smith is running for mayor, or whatever information you want to provide. And you can actually add in additional ways of spelling. So some people spell Naguru Nagulu, some with 2 N's and 2 L's, and so on and so forth. So if anybody texts in to the phone number of this campaign, any of these words, they'll automatically get this response. If they text in something else, let's say you have, now I'm forgetting the names of the areas in Naguru, but let's just say they text in Cebu, then you can say, vote at local schools in Cebu between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. and so on and so forth. And you can easily add more keywords, but of course, if you have a long list, you would upload it. And you can use this for so many different use cases. You can allow people to retrieve information about different sicknesses, so malaria, and send them information on malaria, or tuberculosis or HIV or whatever you want to allow people to get information on. Staff in the field can use this to get refreshers on different symptoms people have. Maybe they text in bloody nose, and they then can get a message that says, bloody noses are typical with these 3 illnesses. Does the person have any other symptoms? Reply with headache, yada yada, or whatever. And then you can actually have another keyword that says headache and allow them to get another response, and so on and so forth. So you can really build a big list of keywords and replies to allow people to retrieve information when they need it. Again, this can just be live and existing and running, so people can just ping it whenever they need for information. One of the cool things also about SMS is you can personalize it. So if you happen to have these people who are interacting with this auto reply engagement already, if you already have their information in your contacts database, you can personalize it. So you can say, hi, first name, vote at the local school in Cebu between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. So when this is sent to Jane, she'll get, hi, Jane, vote at the local school. When it's sent to John, it'll say, hi, John. You can also use this, imagine you're a microfinance organization, and you want people to be able to get their balance. So they text in their balance, and you have a field or a column in your contacts database called balance that you update every week. And so you can say, hi, first name, your balance is, and then there's their balance. And so each individual will get their own balance that way. So, and of course you can have an error message, sorry, that's invalid, try again. So you can really use this to teach people, to allow them to get information they need when they need it, and so on and so forth. And with an auto reply, you don't need to have contacts, so you can just say, I don't want to select contacts, and then on here, you would select the phone number you want for this engagement on step 3. So let's say you purchased a local phone number, a Pakistan SMS number, you can select that, and then when people send an SMS to this number, they will automatically, with one of those keywords, they will automatically get the reply. So it's as easy as that. You can just upload a keyword file here with a list of keywords and replies and have thousands of these in here. So go back now and show everybody the SMS poll. So this is where you can really do a survey and collect data. And again, it's quite easy to do. You can ask an initial question. So again, we can personalize it if we have their name. Hi, first name. What is your gender? So you ask a question, and then what you can do to make sure you have clean, good data is you can validate. So you can just check this box and say the valid answers are female, F, male, M, girl, boy, whatever you want it to be. And so if they send in something other than any of those values, you can send them an error. Sorry, that's not valid. Please reply M or F. And so this way, you can really collect data, and you can add more and more questions. Just click Add Another Question, and a new box pops up, and you can ask, what is your age? And again, of course, you can personalize it, but you can also validate by numbers. So you can say the answer has to be a number between 5 and 110. And again, you could put in an error message. And you can allow people to, let's say you have an important poll where you want to collect information that's going to be used in a campaign, but you don't have everybody's phone numbers. So you can, but you want, and there's some value for people to fill out this survey. Like maybe you want to collect data and you offer an incentive, like we'll send you a certain amount of airtime or phone credit if you complete this survey. And of course, that's something we can also offer. But so you can have this survey, and you can allow people to subscribe via missed call. So they make a missed call to this phone number and that you select here, as I showed you earlier, and then they will get the first question in the poll and respond, and back and forth. They can also subscribe via SMS, so you can create a keyword that says join or whatever you want. You can have a number of keywords, and if they send in that keyword, they will again get the first question in the poll and then continue through this poll. Of course, if you don't have subscription, you can always, on the next page, select a group or select contacts and send the engagement to them. So I'll show you one more engagement type, which is the SMS curriculum. And if you just click on curriculum here, what this allows you to do is send a series of messages over time that you schedule in advance, sort of as a lesson plan. So you can teach people something. Let's say you have a lesson plan on how to increase your crop yield in a field if you're dealing with farmers. And so you can say, this is message 1 about great planting practices. And you can send that out immediately. Of course, you can personalize it. So, as before, hi, first name. This is message 1 about great planting practices. Then you just add another message. And all of the messages are relative to each other in timing. So you could say, I want this one to go out 1 day later. And again, this would be message 2. And add another message. And say message 3, and so on and so forth. And so you have your series of messages, and this one, let's say you want to go out 1 week later. So you have a series of messages, and you can add as many as you want here, that go out over time, over a schedule, and of course people can subscribe, and they will get the first message and continue along. They can subscribe via missed call or via SMS again. So you can build this whole sort of educational curriculum. One other cool thing that I'll just show everybody quickly, for those of you in countries where you may have left to right languages, our system of course supports Unicode, but it also very easily supports left to right languages. So I'm just typing now, and as you can see, the system automatically recognizes that it's a right to left language, and displays it right to left, and tells you that it's a Unicode language as well. And so in countries where the language is right to left, it's much easier for people to use and interact with the system. And there's no settings that you have to do, it just works. So that's one of those nice little features. So that's basically it for curriculums. The other engagement type we have here is a blast, which is essentially one SMS message that you send out to many people. The last one, for those of you who are slightly technical, we have a webhook, So if you have your own database, a good example of this might be crop prices. You have your own system with your own servers with a database of crop prices that you update very regularly. You could put in your URL of that database, so like myurl.com/farmers keyword equals or something, and then when somebody sends in an SMS, so let's say they send in corn, our system will hit this URL, it'll hit your server, and whatever your server responds, we will send to the person who texted in. So if they text in corn, we hit your server responds, the price of corn today is 500 shillings per kilo, or whatever it is. And so you can use this to ping your own database where you're constantly updating information, or if, for example, you have your own database with patient data, you can allow your staff to retrieve that data by, for example, sending in a patient number or patient name to a phone number linked to this engagement, and we will hit your server again via the URL, and then whatever you tell us to send back to them, we will send back. So maybe a patient dossier or something via SMS. So those are the different engagement types we offer. As I mentioned earlier, you can buy phone numbers in the middle of creating engagements, but also from this phone number tab up here, you can you'll see here all of the phone numbers linked to your account. You can add a phone number and just search for it here. We also have an Android app. So in countries where we don't have a phone number, where we don't have phone numbers available, sort of virtual phone numbers that you can buy instantly, you can install our Android app on your phone and turn the SIM card in your app into a local, in your phone into a local phone number that can receive SMS and send SMS. And the Android app can also receive missed calls. So that way, let's say you wanted to send out voice IVRs to, as I showed you earlier, to people, but you want to allow them to subscribe to it because you don't have their phone numbers and we don't have a voice phone number in your country, you can install our Android app on your Android, put a local SIM card, advertise the phone number of that SIM card for people to make a missed call to it. They make a missed call to it. Our app tells our system, hey, I received a missed call from this phone number. Our system says, oh, okay, that's linked to this engagement, and then it automatically, not through your phone, but through our global telco network, calls the person back and plays back the voice IVR. So that's the gist of the system. Then we have the contact section, which I'll show you quickly. In here, you can simply add contacts. So let's say I want to add a contact in Uganda. If you notice, this flag turns to the Uganda flag when I type in the country code. It's very easy. You can add columns. So you can just very easily click the Add a Column button, and let's say we wanted to add a column called Country, and just hit Save, and now that exists. So I can add information. I simply can click here and type in Uganda, and that'll get saved as the country of this contact. Of course, you can upload contacts over here. We have a template you can download and then upload, hundreds of thousands of contacts without a problem. You can, of course, create groups, and we have all these groups on the side here where you can put contacts into groups. But you can also, one of the powerful things is you can create what's called a smart group. So a smart group is based on rules. So you can say, I want to create a group where country is equal to Uganda, and gender is equal to female. So if I create that group, this smart group, it's a dynamic group. It automatically will get updated with any contacts that who are female and from Uganda. And so as I add new contacts, if they meet those parameters, they will automatically be added to the group. If I remove certain parameters from a contact, so here I have a smart group with gender is female and course is carpentry. If I were to remove gender female from this contact, the contact would be automatically removed from that smart group, and so on and so forth as you update your contacts. So it's a nice way to build dynamic groups, so you don't have to worry about manually adding people here and there. The system just automatically handles it based on the values that you add. So those are the big features of the platform. You can also add multiple users to your account. So in here, you have an organization. You can just add another email address and click Add User with different roles, and our system will automatically send an email to that person, inviting them to sign up and telling them that you added them to the organization. Or if somebody already has an account, they will just automatically be added, and then they'll be able to do different things within your organization, creating engagements, viewing reports, etc. So that's the gist of the platform. I guess it's time to open it up to questions. Hopefully you'll enjoy that and have a bunch of questions. Anybody have any questions? I see, Ryan, you said, can we see the detailed report? Sure. I'm not sure if that worked before. Let me switch.
It just switched to a video of your face, so I'm not sure if it was working.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let me show that. Google Hangouts is always fun. Sorry about that. Where is the Excel spreadsheet? Here we go. Can you all see the spreadsheet now?
Yes.
Okay. So this, as you saw, it was created in real time right after the engagement finished, or right after the call finished. And so you see all of this data here. You'll see, sorry, let me start at the beginning. The phone number of the recipient and their first name and last name if it was entered into the system. Here it wasn't. The phone number, so this is the caller ID, the phone number that I entered for the person that showed up as a call ID on the phone. Then here it shows the date of the call, the time the call was made in GMT, the time it was answered, the time the call ended, how long it was, whether this was a retry call or not, so it'll say yes if it was, what question number this was. So if it was a poll with a variety, with 5 questions, it'll tell you which question number this was, so you can sort of see the flow for this contact within the poll, what they pressed, whether it was valid, what MP3 file played after they pressed that key, and the time of the key press. So you actually get all of that data instantaneously right after the call ends. And if you had 10,000 contacts, you'd have 10,000 rows, or more than 10,000 rows if there were multiple questions in this table. And of course, you can crunch this and do with it as you please. And it just updates in real time. So if you had a call with retries, and on the first try, half the people pick up, and you download the report, then the first retry call happens 2 hours later, and another 500 people answer, and you download the report. Then it'll automatically be updated with the new calls and so on and so forth. So Charles asked, any other questions, sorry, on the report before I continue?
Is there an easy way to tell, like, the one flow through a survey if it has multiple questions, since you're doing multiple lines?
Yeah, so the easiest way to do it is actually to sort in Excel. So what we typically do when you have a big report is I would just highlight the whole thing and sort first by phone number and then by question number, and then you'll just have, the first person's phone number. If there are a 10-question poll, you'll see 10 rows with that phone number, question 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., and you'll be able to see what happened. And so on and so on. You may have more than 10 rows, right? Because if they pressed an invalid key and then it repeated and then it played the error message and then they pressed a valid key, you'll see both of those. So that's another very interesting thing you might want to do. You can sort by valid key press, and maybe what you'll learn is valid key press equaled no a lot of times on question 2. So again, this helps with iteration. You can say, oh, something's funny with question 2. Why are so many people getting it wrong or not understanding the first time or something like that? So yeah, you get that data and can really crunch it and use it to improve your campaigns. Any other questions on that?
Good for now. Thank you.
Charles, what are the baby steps? How does one kickstart? Well, I would say the best way to kickstart is to send yourself campaigns. So I would go into the platform and create an engagement, send yourself a basic Voice IVR, and when you sign up, you automatically get an email with some demo MP3 files that you can upload into your account while you're creating an engagement. Send it to yourself, send it to your colleagues. This works literally anywhere in the world. We've had campaigns in Afghanistan, Philippines, India, Zambia, Uganda, all over the place. Other countries I'm not thinking of right now. We've done demos to Lesotho, Papua New Guinea, Senegal, etc. So places all over the globe it works. So send yourself a demo, send your colleagues a demo. Check out the reports, right? Once you take those few steps, you really get a feel for it, and then try out the next engagement type once you've mastered the first one, and play around with the different settings. Does that answer your question, Charles, or did you have something more than that?
Well, yeah. I think that answers that. But does that mean then I have to buy bundles or have to put credit in my line? What does that mean?
Right. Great question. So every account comes with some free credit. Right when you sign up, you'll get some free credit, so you can do some testing in there. And then after that, yeah, you'd have to add some funds. But it's all, as I mentioned at the beginning during the initial PowerPoint presentation, it's all pay-per-use. So it's not like you add funds and it disappears after a month because it was used to pay for the monthly subscription fee. You add $10 in there, and it's in your account. It only deducts when you send an SMS or send a voice call or buy a phone number. So it's really all usage fees. It's all pay-per-use. So it'll just automatically deduct from your account.
Quick question. First off, thanks for the super helpful rundown and walkthrough. With the top-ups that you were briefly mentioning, are those, A, is that provided across all of the different countries, and B, maybe it just dropped out when you were showing how to set that up, but would be interested to see how to do those top-ups if I missed it.
When you say top-ups, do you mean add money to your engageSPARK account, or do you mean send airtime to somebody, to a constituent's phone?
The latter, sending airtime.
Got it. So it's something that we have that isn't yet built into the platform to be automated. It's on our roadmap. It's coming up in the near future to be able to actually even automate it as part of an engagement. So imagine you can, at the end of that SMS poll or at the end of that voice poll, there'll be a button that says if somebody completes the poll, automatically send them 100 shillings in airtime top-up, and if they complete the poll, our system will automatically send it to them. That's not there yet. It's coming soon. For the meantime, what you can do is email us a spreadsheet with a list of phone numbers and how much you want to send them, and we can do it within, as soon as we process it, it's instant. It takes a few seconds. It's just not integrated into the platform yet, but we can do it to, can't remember the full number of telcos, but it's something like 85 countries, and almost all of them are developing countries, and it's basically every telco, or almost every telco in those countries.
Great, thanks.
Sure. Tony, I saw you had a quick question about editing engagement. also, it's one of those things that's coming very soon. So that will be ready in probably the next month, I would say. We actually recently did a sort of redesign of our platform to make it even faster, easier, and more powerful. And as part of that process, we removed editing for a bit and are now in the process of bringing it back. So it should be there soon. Any other questions, hopefully? Okay. Looks like Charles has one. So Charles asks, when does one need to buy a local line versus the Android application? Great question. So it really depends on your country. So we're constantly adding new phone numbers to our database, but some countries it's very difficult to get SMS-enabled phone numbers. So for example, in the Philippines right now, we don't have them. We're actually very close to getting them. But so if we don't have an SMS-enabled phone number in your country and you want to do two-way SMS engagements where you send out a question and receive a reply, or you want to have an auto reply where people can send in a keyword, to be able, for our system to be able to receive those keywords or those replies to SMSs, people need to have a phone number that they can send it to. And in some countries we just don't have those SMS numbers yet, so you would need to link your Android phone and put the SIM card in. And our fee for that is just a flat, again, per SMS fee. So we charge half a US penny for every SMS that gets sent via the Android or received to the Android. And of course you have to have local airtime on the SIM card to be able to send SMSs from it. But our fee is just half a penny per SMS in and out. So, and there's no bundles. You don't have to add $10, or you don't have to buy $10 worth of those. It's, you want to do 2 SMS, it's 1 penny, and that's it.
Okay, thanks. So you would advise, given that some of the features that the platform is able to support, the most, all of them are interesting, but I mean the interactive ones are really good. So it appears, therefore, that buying a line is one of the mandatory or most encouraged approach.
Yeah, except if you want to do voice. I mean, one of the big things that we've seen, well, we've seen a few things related to voice. One thing is voice feels like it's more expensive than SMS, but in reality it often isn't, and I'll explain why. If you want to send out some sort of campaign where you are teaching somebody something, so as an example, we've talked about it before, we did a big program with Mercy Corps here in the Philippines where they sent out a soap opera campaign to survivors of Typhoon Haiyan for financial literacy. And they did it via SMS and voice. And while SMS is much cheaper per SMS, sending out this soap opera story via SMS required about 5 SMSs for one story, whereas for voice it was just about 2 minutes. So you end up having to pay for 5 SMS to go out. So the prices get a lot closer that way when you're doing something like that. Secondly, people have to reply. If you're doing a survey and you want to send out 5 questions, it's a long and arduous process, right? You send out one question, they have to reply. You send out another question, they have to reply, and so on and so forth. So you have 10 SMSs going back and forth, and people might not, want to engage. It becomes annoying to have to do all of that, and it costs them money, especially if they're replying to an Android, a SIM card, right? They have to pay for those SMSs. For voice, it's completely free for them. It's much faster and much easier. So they receive a call, and it just asks them, press 1, boom, done. Go on to the next question. Press 1, 2, or 3, done. They press it. Go on to the next question, so on and so forth. So they literally can answer a voice survey much faster. You already have them on the call, so they're already, engaged. They don't have to, reply and wait for the next one and so on and so forth, and they can do it very quickly, and it costs them nothing. So it can, voice in a way can actually be cheaper, and you actually tend to get higher engagement rates with voice than SMS. People, might not reply to an SMS, whereas voice, once they answer that call, they're on it. If you ask questions or have an intro that's engaging, they likely will end up engaging with the survey or with whatever campaign you have and replying. We've seen much higher engagement rates on the voice side than the SMS side.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Other questions?
When are you sharing the webinar recording?
Sorry?
When are you sharing the webinar recording?
I think Google automatically puts it on YouTube, so it's I think as soon as it's done, it's there, so you can share with people. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll post it on Facebook and Twitter as well. So, anybody else? Ryan, Eric, Tony. All right. I guess we'll wrap this up then. Thank you so much for joining, and please go ahead and sign up if you haven't already, and let us know if you have questions. We also have a live chat on the site, which is somebody's on it typically during most waking hours in the Philippines. So somebody will be on it, and if you have questions while you're using the site, you can just jump on there and start chatting. So it's one of the nice things as well. If you have questions while you're using it, just ask, and they'll be there. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day or morning or night. And hopefully we'll do this again as we have more and more features. We have a lot of really exciting ones coming out soon. That should be up within the next month, including allowing users to record responses. So you can ask open-ended questions on a voice call. What is your name? And somebody can speak a response, and you'll be able to listen to those on the site and download them and manipulate them, and some other cool features coming as well. So thanks again, and yeah, talk to you all soon. Take care.